Are you ready to pack? Because it's time to go back to Orilium and we have to talk about all the difficult classes we have to take this semester. So let's go! I'm ready. Let's discuss books. I am running to Orilium Autumn Equinox with my character Doena. We have ahead of ourselves our last semester of the calling before we become master of the calling and can graduate. The calling that Doena is attending is Wild Form Druid, and that means we have to read 12 books for Autumn Equinox. If you never heard about Orilium the Magical Readathon, it is 1 month-long readathon hosted by G over at Bookworm. I will link it down below so you can check it out. It's loads of fun. We create our characters that then attend a magical school. It's epic. Go check it out, please. But we have lots of prompts to go through in this video. As I said, Wild Form Druid in Autumn Equinox means 12 books. So let me just go through all of the prompts and what I picked to read for them. So first we have to reach Distinguished in Animal Studies, so that's 3 prompts for Animal Studies. The first one for Ordinary is Crown Magic, and the prompt is Antlers or Horns on the cover or in the title. And for this I picked a book that I do own, and it's been on my radar, well, ever since I actually received it, because this is a beautiful Illumicrate edition, and it is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. It has beautiful sprayed edges and beautiful end papers. Gorgeous book. So I'm excited to finally get to this one. And this is about a town called Hemlock Falls, which isn't like other towns. You won't find it on the map, your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might just kill you. So this is kind of like evil forest kind of story, and I'm here for it. I love creepy forest vibes. Winnie Wednesday wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, the ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity from the monsters and nightmares that rise in the forest of Hemlock Falls every night. Ever since her father was exposed as a witch and a traitor, Winnie and her family have been shunned. But on her 16th birthday, she can take the deadly Luminary Hunter trials and prove herself true and loyal and restore her family's good name or die trying. And so, sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. Trial. It is YA fantasy, so we'll see how the YA part goes. This is the first pick for Antlers and Horns, and I don't know if I actually showed you properly, but yeah, there probably you can see the horns on the skull. Gorgeous. That's my first book. Next we have Qualified for Animal Studies, and here we study magical zootechnics. The prompt is Farm Animal on the cover or in the title. And for this I picked Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke, which if you follow Book World you definitely have heard of this one. If not, it is extremely popular book right now. There is like 500 reservations on it at my library, so I'm not getting it physically, I cannot, but I did find an audiobook of it, so I'm gonna be listening to it on audiobook. And this is about an influencer who is a threadwife and is an influencer in that kind of niche, and one day she wakes up and she's like 60 years ago, and then she kind of wakes up to like harsh reality of being a threadwife. People either love it or hate it, so I'm really curious to see where I land on this. I'm curious to see what the book is about. And then the Distinguished for Animal Studies is Three-Headed Creatures, and the prompt is part of a trilogy. And because I was able to fit one book for one of the later prompts that is part of the trilogy, but it is third one in the trilogy, I kind of have to read the first 2 as well. I have read this trilogy a long time ago, but it's time to now reread it. I'm planning to read it in Swedish, and I haven't started it. So the time has come to start reading and to read this trilogy in its full. And so for this prompt I picked The Hunger Games by Susan Collins in Swedish. So this is the Swedish translation. It's very nice and handy edition. You probably know Hunger Games used to be a huge thing. I mean, it still is. People still talk about it. There are still new books being released in the world. Excited to get to this. I also found audiobook in Swedish, so I plan to listen to it and read it at the same time. It is a big challenge because I'm not used to reading books in Swedish. So this is part of my challenge, read 6 books in Swedish in 2026. So here we go. Here goes nothing but Hunger Games for this prompt. So that is completed for animal studies. Next up, for Wild Form Druid, I have to reach qualified in Art of Illusion, so 2 prompts. For Ordinary we've got pigment replicators, and the prompt is opposite in color wheel from your last read cover. And the book that I'm currently reading is Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell. I'm listening to it on audiobook, and the cover that is there is the one that I'm using. It is kind of our main characters in the forest. I feel the cover is mostly dark green. Based on that, I looked at the color wheel. Color that is opposite of dark green is dark pink mauve color. And so here I had a couple options. Actually, I had the Death of Vivek Oji, I had A Sky Full of Dragons, Malibu Rising, but the one book that I decided to go for, and some of you helped me pick of all the options, is Queenie by Candice Cardiff-Williams. This book just got its sequel. I didn't know there was a sequel coming, but it just got a sequel, so this is kind of like hyped again. But this was longlisted for Women's Prize for Fiction in 2020. It's been on my TBR for a very long time, so it's time to finally read this. This is a darkly comic and bitingly subversive take on life, love, race and family. Queenie will have you nodding in recognition, crying in solidarity, and rooting for this unforgettable character every step of the way. And it also has, like, when I open it, it has like text messages in it, which I'm usually a fan of in literary fiction, because it kind of makes it flow easier, and you know, it's kind of makes it more realistic when there are text messages. So this is my pick for this color prompt. Next up we have for qualified Illusion Deconstruction, and here the prompt is Cover You Don't Love. Where to start on this one? But I did go through my Goodreads shelf, because I have a Goodreads shelf like top of the TBR, and that is specifically for this kind of occasion when I want to see the cover of the books that are on my TBR, like the top of the TBR, because I have a list. I want it to be easier for me to see the covers of all of them as well, so I created this list. So I went through this list to see which of the covers I don't love, and there was a trend that the first books, and almost the only books that I did not love the cover of, were the books that were nominated for the Climate Fiction Prize this year. I still have 3 on that list that I haven't read, and all 3 would be a good contender for this prompt. That would be Dusk by Robbie Arnott, that would be Albion by Anne Hope, and The Price of Everything. I can't remember the author, I will put it up on the screen. And so here, first I went for the shortest one of them, because I have to read 12 books, that is a lot on its own, so I picked the shortest one, but then I was able to squeeze that one for a different prompt later on. So for this one instead, I'm picking Albion by Anne Hope. I can find audiobook of it, I do not have it physically, but Albion is a finely crafted, propulsive and nuanced story of family, inheritance and accountability that shakes the country house novel to its foundations, from the internationally acclaimed author of Expectation. The Brookes are gathering in their 18th century ancestral home, 20 bedrooms of carved Sussex sandstone, to bury their patriarch, Philip. Father, grandfather, husband, landowner, one-time hippie, long-time philanderer, Philip was the blinding sun around which the family has orbited their entire lives. Eldest daughter Franny, inheritor of 1,000 acres of English countryside, mother to a daughter whose future she fears for, dreams of rebuilding and returning the estate to a last line of defense against the coming climate catastrophe. Her brother Milo envisages a treetop haven for the super-rich, where, under the influence of psychedelic drugs, a new ruling class will be reborn to create a better world. That's quite different ideas of how to use this property. Each believes their father has given them his blessing and are set on a collision course with the other. So, sounds intriguing. It could be quite interesting when siblings have such opposing views. So we'll see if it will be very focused on the climate or if it will be more focused on the family dynamic. Probably quite a combination, but we'll see. But this is my pick for a cover I don't love. And it's not a bad cover, I just really don't like screaming color of the title and the author's name. It's just, for me, it's, no, it doesn't work. For me it doesn't work, so that's why. Otherwise it's not horrible cover, I've seen worse. That is that for Art of Illusion. Next step, I need Ordinary in Astronomy, so there is only one here. And for Ordinary in Astronomy we'll be studying birth chart numerology, and the prompt is popular book from a specific year. And how I find this year is that I take 2 last digits of my birth year. So I was born in 1991, so 9 plus 1, that is 10, and then add it to 2000, so 2010. That is the year I need to pick a book from. So I went online and searched for popular books from 2010, and I found, that's where the Hunger Games comes in play, that Mockingjay, the last book in the Hunger Games trilogy, came out in 2010. The Swedish translation is Revolt, as in revolution. And so I'm going to be reading this one. Not going to say, you know, what it is about. It's a last book in a trilogy, but I mean, most of you probably know what it's about. But that's the second book from the Hunger Games trilogy on my TBR for September. Next, we have Restoration. Here I need Distinguished, so all 3 prompts, all 3 classes. So let's just dive in. For Ordinary in Restoration, we're going to be studying Cardiac Biomancy, and the prompt is heart, so heart on the cover or heart in the title. And I was breaking my brain over this because there's so many books that I do not own and that I'm not interested in, that were on the list or in the search when it was like heart on the cover or heart in the title. There was one that I was interested in. It's the Heart's Invisible Furies. That one I'm interested in, but that's a long book. So I continued searching, and I'm glad I did, because I found a book that's perfect for this and perfect for a readathon as well. And it's The Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I've read 5 Heartstopper books. There is a 6th and last one that came out in July. I haven't read that one yet. So my plan is to read the 5th one, reread the 5th one to kind of get back into the story, and then read the 6th and last one. Maybe I will count one of them for the... We'll see what happens, but for the previous prompt, if I don't get to the book, like, for example, the cover I don't love, and there I could count the Heartstopper 6, because I don't love those covers. They all look the same. They don't give me anything anymore. It's just like, it's just the same thing. They're not bad, they're nice covers, but I don't love them. I don't look at them and go like, I love this cover. So I could potentially count it for that as well, you know, take the easier route, but we'll see what happens. But Heartstopper, anyway, whether I count the 5th or 6th, we'll see, but that is my plan. The next one for Qualified, we need, we're going to be studying Jitter Jinx, and the prompt is verb in the title. And here we've got 2 books that I am going to be deciding again. The first one that I have planned for is Catching Fire, which is the 2nd book in the Hunger Games trilogy. Catching, I'm not sure if it exactly means, or if it exactly is a verb in this specific context, Catching Fire and the title of this book, but catching itself is a verb, so I'm counting that, so that would be one option. Another option could be my book club read for August that I haven't started yet, but depending on when we will set the book club discussion day, I will be reading this book either in August or I'll be reading it more in September. So I would like to squeeze it then, and that would be Playground by Richard Powers. If you've read the Overstory, I feel like the setup is very similar. We follow many different characters across the world interested in different sides of sea conservation and animals and the nature, and we follow them, how they kind of get together and fight for the same cause and how they affect each other's lives. And I love the Overstory, and so we picked this one for my Climates book club in August. So this is a book I have to read in very near future, so we will see how that works out, but one of these 2 books will definitely be read for this prompt. But for now I'm going to assume the Hunger Games book, or the Catching Fire. And for distinguished in restoration, we're going to be studying minor resurrections, and the prompt is read a book that is in a risk of an unhole. Here I've got 3 books. I'll walk you through them quickly. First, we've got Plain Song by Kent Haruf. It's set in America, and it's about a father who is struggling to bring up his 2 young sons alone. And then there is another girl that gets pregnant and is homeless, so they kind of take care of her, and it follows their story. We've got Harmless Like You by Roman Hisayo Buchanan. This is about the Japanese woman. When her parents move from New York back to Tokyo, she decides to stay. She was 16 at the time, and then we follow her in another timeline when she has a son and he starts questioning her decision to stay and the repercussions for the family. That could be interesting. And then we've got The Plague Dogs by Richard Adams, which is a story about 2 dogs that manage to escape a testing facility, right? Animal research center. And then they face all kinds of different horrors. So those are the 3 books I have. I bought all of these 3 books from a second-hand store or when they were on like a huge sale when I just moved to Sweden. So I've had these for a very long time, and I got them because I just wanted some books. And I did not have much money, so I was like, I'll just grab anything. And I still haven't gotten to them. And as the time goes, as my collection, book collection is growing, I have more and more books that I'm more interested in than these 3. So these are on a fire seat, honestly. So I'm gonna be reading one of these one. So far in our planning session yesterday, you all voted for this one, or most of you voted for The Plague Dog, so that might be the one. But then also there is an idea to read one chapter, the first chapter of each of them, and decide which one I want to read. So that would be a vlog idea for September, so we'll see if that happens, but keep an eye out. But so far I'm going to put The Plague Dogs on the TBR. That's it for restoration, and so we have 3 classes left, and that would be for shape-shifting. So here, Ordinary, we are going to be studying Shifting Replay, and the prompt is author's most recent release. And here I've got 2 options again. The first one I'm thinking is Disenchanted by Lucy Jane Wood. It's kind of becoming a tradition between me and Natalie, a friend, to buddy read this book in September when it comes out, because it was last year and I think the year before as well, when we buddy read the book when it just came out. And it's a beautiful, wonderful, cozy, autumnal, witchy book. So it will be perfect for the season. But we're talking with Natalie, and she's not sure if she'll be able to squeeze it into the month. She wasn't able to squeeze it into her Orilium TBR, so we'll see if we get to that. If we don't get to that, we'll definitely be doing the buddy read in October. But then in that case I would squeeze in the Heartstopper Volume 6 for this prompt, because that is, you know, the most recent book by Alice Oseman. So there are my 2 options. For the next one, for qualified, we're going to be studying Quick Morph. And the prompt is emoji generator 3 times. And so I did this yesterday with during our planning session on Discord. So I'm going to show here how that went, so you can see how what 3 emojis I got. And so I got a cat, I got a pig, and an alien. And so I was thinking and thinking what to do with this one. I was really like, there's plenty books with cat on the cover, but nothing that was directly on my TBR, kind of. But I already had that book for a different prompt, so it's just like I was struggling. But then this is where the other climate fiction prize book comes into play, and that would be Dusk by Robbie Arnott. There is a big cat on the cover. Okay, it's I get it, it's hard to see, but it's a cat. So I'm going to be counting it for this prompt. In the distant highlands, a puma named Dusk is killing shepherds. Down in the lowlands, twins Iris and Floyd are out of work, money and friends. When they hear that a bounty has been placed on Dusk, they reluctantly decide to join the hunt. As they journey up into this wild, haunted country, they discover there is a far more to the land and people of the highlands than they imagined, and as they close in on their prey, they are forced to reckon with conflicts both ancient and deeply personal. The premise sounds very similar to Charlotte McConaughey, so I'm really excited to see what Robbie Arnold did with this one. I never read anything by this author before, but the premise sounds like it could be exactly up my alley. So I'm curious about this one, and I'm looking forward to listen to the audiobook. And then the last book on the TBR, the last class for the Distinguished. It's Trends and Patterns, and the prompt is your favorite trope. And my favorite trope would be, for sure, found family. I absolutely adore found family, and like my pinnacle of found family trope would be The House in the Cerulean Sea. So if you know anything that has that vibe, let me know. There is a good chance I already read them, because I was actually looking like found trope family lists on the internet, and the top 10 would be like, yeah, I already read all of them. But please give me your recommendations. That's absolutely, I adore it, I will read it. But for this one, I picked one I already had on my audiobook list, and it was a book on G Patreon's book club once, and I never got to it, so perfect opportunity. I know this is a cozy fantasy, and it also has a cat on the cover. That's the one I was talking about, that has a cat on the cover. But it is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, and here we follow Tao, who is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She only tells small fortunes, whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind. But a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi-reformed thief and an ex-mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they are joined by a baker with a need for adventure and, of course, a slightly magical cat. Tao sets down a new path with companions as big-hearted as her fortunes are small. But as she lowers her walls, the shadows of her past are closing in, and she'll have to decide whether to risk everything to preserve the family she never thought she could have. Perfect found family trope, even described in the blurb. So that is my book for this prompt. So that's what we've got here, that's what we are working with. I physically own 6 of the books that I picked, so that is The Luminaries, The Hunger Games trilogy, all 3 books, Queenie, The Plague Dogs, and then we've got 6 more books. We've got The Teller of Small Fortunes, Heartstopper, Dusk, Albion, Yesteryear, and Disenchanted, or another Heartstopper. Heartstopper, the 6th one I cannot get from the library, the 5th one I might. I'll see if I'll be able to grab it from the library. The 6th one I'll be definitely reading online, because the queue in the library is way too long, so I wouldn't be able to get it in September as well, so I can read it online on Webtoons. So I already found out which chapters that would correspond to. But yeah, those are my picks for Wild Form Druid calling this semester, and I'm super duper excited to go back to Orilium with all of you. So please let me know if you are participating in Orilium this year, and what is the calling that you are taking, and what is your favorite book, or the book that you are most looking forward to read in September. I'll be very happy to hear from you, but yeah, that's it for now. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!